Yo, YouTube, will you marry me? Did you just say no? Yeah, I figured that's what you were gonna say, and that's the problem. Nobody wants to get married anymore. Everything is down. Marriages are down, birth rates are down, and nobody even wants to date. The whole scene around marriage, dating, having children is just bad right now. And it's understandable with, where the world is right now. But I want to delve a little bit deeper into it and really talk about it, because we do have to, at some point, start addressing and solving problems in the world. We just have to. But we're going to go over the history of marriage, where it started, how it started, why it started, things like that. Then we're going to talk about, some of the problems with marriages. We're going to listen to some other videos about what problems are, causing these marriages to fail and people to not even start getting married. And then at the end, I'm going to, talk about a little bit of my personal story, my view, and some resolutions. So if you like what I got going on here, make sure you drop a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna have more commentaries coming out. I also do reaction videos. I just like to have fun, but talk about serious things at the same time. Fun and serious. I'm just both, bro. I'm just like that. Anyway, let's hop into this video. This woman is gonna tell us more about the history of marriage, how it got started. It's important to understand where things come from, because we can understand, maybe how it broke down or how it degraded over time. So it's definitely important to understand where something comes from before you just start doing things. So let's hear what she got to say about this.
The concept of marriage is ancient, way older than most religions. The earliest evidence of formalized marriage goes back to about 4,000 years to Mesopotamia, but it wasn't about soulmates or sacred union. Marriage was a legal contract designed to control property, inheritance, and reproduction. It wasn't really about I love you. It was more about let's merge bloodlines and lands. We've all seen Games of Thrones, right? Women were property in early societies, especially patriarchal ones like ancient Rome, Greece, and Hebrew culture. Marriage was often a transaction. Women were given away by their fathers. Dowries were paid. The bride became legal property of her husband. Marriage was about legitimizing heirs, keeping wealth within certain families, and solidifying political alliances. Polygamy was common. Monogamy wasn't the original standard. In many ancient cultures, kings and powerful men had multiple wives or concubines. Marriage was about status, power, and fertility, not exclusivity. Even in biblical texts, figures like Solomon had hundreds of wives. Marriage wasn't always a religious thing. In fact, early Christian texts didn't even mention it as a sacrament. It wasn't until around the 12th century that the Catholic Church started to officially recognize marriage as a holy sacrament. By the 16th century, marriage became regulated by the church, often requiring ceremonies and official records. Marriage for love is a recent idea. Before the 18th to the 19th century, love was seen as something separate, even dangerous to bring into marriage, imagine. But during the Romantic era, love started to be seen as a valid reason to marry. That's when the idea of a soulmate and happily ever after took off, boosted by literature, poetry, and later Hollywood, media, etc. So governments also used marriage as a way to control population and morality. They used it to track citizenship and inheritance, regulate sex and reproduction, especially for women. Even today, marriage comes with legal benefits, which shows how it's still a tool of state and institutional control. So marriage today, is it sacred or social contract? Depending on culture and belief, some people still see marriage as divinely sacred. Others see it as a social tool or even an outdated one. Some people marry for visa reasons, tax breaks, social status, cultural expectations, and yes, sometimes for love. So marriage has always been a reflection of the times and the systems we live in. What started as a transaction for power became a sacrament for God, and now often functions as a lifestyle choice. But the essence has always been the same. Its structure, which was created to shape society, not just connect souls. So marriage wasn't even originally about love.
Now that's a very interesting video. She told us a lot in that little 3 minutes, but to recap, basically, Marriage didn't start off as some type of religious institution. This wasn't a God-mandated thing. So I don't want to hear anything at all about no Christian God and marriage. I don't want to hear nothing about no one man, one woman. That's how it probably started, though. One man, one woman. But I was, reading some Wikipedia pages, and it was telling me that, before Mesopotamia, because that's kind of where she started, before Mesopotamia, that men and women pretty much did the same things, pretty much before the invention of the plow. So men would have to go out and, hunt and stuff like that, protect, gather wood, things like that. While women stayed, normally they pick berries. They might also gather wood and stuff like that to help build houses and fires. But women were actually very important when it came to gathering food. They collected more food than the men most time. Men, would go off and hunt and stuff like that. But the berries and the tree nuts and stuff like that, women would give that way more than, what men could get hunting. So, it's a very interesting way to start off this institution, really, because men and women were pretty much on an equal playing field back then. They married simply just to keep the structure of everything, and children weren't really considered, just somebody's responsibility. The whole tribe, like they said, it takes a tribe to raise a kid. The whole tribe literally raised kids together. So, marriage became more of a contractual thing, like she said, where you're passing down property, you have finances that need to be handled and stuff like that. So marriage was really more so about just controlling your assets, more than, finding love. Like she said, finding love was considered bad. You don't want to have love in your relationship, and maybe that's where a lot of things are going wrong. Because the way I look at it, we need marriage to function as a way to raise children. We want to raise children within marriages. We don't want to raise them outside of them, because we get better results when we have children within a marriage. So it's important to get back to this version of thinking when it comes to marriage, just because we have to understand that we're here to build something and leave something for the next generation. And that generation is going to do the same thing, and it's going to continue on. So humans keep, the human race keeps going. And that's pretty much our biological drive, to keep the race going. You can ignore that drive if you want to. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But if we, as a society, when you get older, if you're my age, 26, Gen Z, you want people to be around to help you do the things that you need to do and run society, when you're retired, then you're going to need to get married and have children. You need to get married and have children, because you want those children to be functioning members of society. You want your society to function when you're no longer working in it. Seriously. So we had to start thinking about, what assets do I have? What money am I going to leave for my children? How am I going to build this partnership up? Now, she also said, how women were property and stuff like that. And I totally just don't agree with that. I don't think we have to go back to thinking of women as property and, what is your father going to give me if, I marry you? I don't think that's necessary at all, because we have ways of controlling paternity. And I think that was pretty much the biggest reason why they were so controlling of women back then, because if a woman, just went and slept around with anybody like they do nowadays, and just lie about whoever the father is, then that's a serious problem. I'm not raising somebody else's children. I'm not taking responsibility for something that ain't mine. So I definitely understand maybe why they did it, but it's a total overcorrection, should not be done. Not saying that it's okay to do, not saying I would have gave the thumbs up to them, no. But I definitely understand the train of thought and reasoning why they did it. Just don't agree with why they did it. I wouldn't use that as a reason to go do that. But definitely getting back to that view of, what are we building here? What are we leaving for the children? It wasn't about love. And now, I do think love has its place within marriage, but I don't think it is the most important part of a marriage, truly and honestly. I think there is way more important things when it comes to a marriage. She also talked about polygamy. I don't think we should go back to polygamy either. I think polygamy eventually just leaves, the top men who get all the resources by whatever vile means they get those resources, they get all the women. And then the men who are cheated by the men who do vile things now have no women. So while I do believe that regulation when it comes to marriage is still very, very necessary, it just can't be too stringent. Should polygamy be allowed? Maybe in certain cases. Maybe only in certain cases. I think for sure, the whole party would have to be agreeing to it. If one person in the party doesn't want to do it, then nobody gets added. Ways to regulate it. I think it would have to come down to like an infertility thing too. Like infertility would be a good reason why I'm stepping outside of my marriage to go find somebody. And I think those could be, a little bit more temporary. I was also reading on Wikipedia about like temporary marriages and how, sometimes a merchant would be in a different city for weeks on end. So they would, meet a woman there and have this relationship. And I think it was called a mutta or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to put the blurb up somewhere. But they had these temporary marriages where, because, back in those days, they didn't allow sex outside of marriage. So they had to get this temporary marriage if they wanted to have these sexual relations. And if a baby was produced from this sexual relation, then now that baby has inheritance rights. That's a very interesting. I just thought that was very interesting to read because they see inheritance as the main sole reason for why we're getting married in the first place. So and passing that inheritance down to children, making sure those resources stay in the family so each family has enough resources to keep living, is very important. It's very important. The family is the cornerstone of society. So we definitely need to make sure these families have the resources they need to keep going. So the whole community, the whole world can keep functioning as a whole. But yeah, we definitely need to start thinking about like how marriages contribute to this bigger society. And that's just a problem that we have in today's modern age. Everybody is individualized. Everybody really only cares kind of about themselves. A lot of people, especially in my generation, Gen Z, don't really care about their community. And it reflects in the way they drive, the way they treat work, the way they treat people, customer service and stuff like that. The attitudes of people just have been getting more and more brazen over the years, more and more disrespectful, more and more just, what's the word? Uncooperative. People don't want to cooperate with each other. People don't want to let you get over while you're driving, So we're going to listen to her talk about individualism a bit more and why it's a problem in our society.
So I made a video the other day, right? And I said, I was talking to my friend, and he told me every wedding that he went to last year that I broke up, which is insane. Earlier this year now, I made a video saying, why does it take a village to raise a baby, but not a village to keep a marriage together? And I'm starting to think that these two things are not a coincidence. And it's not necessarily that you need a village to keep your marriage together, but when you are working towards building community and you are in community and you care about the community and you are community thinking and you're not like individualized to a degree, like you're not all about self, doesn't that impact like the marriage that you have? I think in the Western world, we've become more individualized. Like, wouldn't we say that? We're not thinking about the collective good all the time. We're always thinking about self. And I also keep hearing on top of that marriage is the death of self. So if you go into a marriage thinking that you're finding somebody to complement self and where you think you finna go, that's just gonna fall apart anyway. Is it not? Because you're supposed to be dying to yourself every day. And that sounds crazy. I know that sounds hard. But that's also why everybody ain't supposed to get married, right? Because that's the point. It's not about you. It's about two becoming one. And you can't do that if you think your one is better than the other one. Like, I'm not married. I don't know. But I don't think it's a coincidence.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting. I don't know where she was going with that whole "it takes a village to keep a marriage" thing. I just don't believe that. But definitely, marriages are part of the bigger village. So if you, as a person, don't care about your village, why in the world would you ever get married? If you don't care about your community, what's the point of you getting married? Because we're building a community, because you're going to want to have children at some point, probably. I don't even understand the point of getting married if you don't want to have children. But if you're getting married, I'm assuming you want to have children, and that's why you're trying to build this relationship and that's what you're building towards. You're building towards a community. You're adding a person to the world. Even if you're not going to have children, let's say you just get married, no children, you are still a part of society. You and this other person. So if these two people don't care about, the outside world and how they're affecting people, then why would they ever have a positive relationship? How could that ever be something harmonious and peaceful? Because these two people are selfish. They're individualized. They're not thinking about how they're going to benefit the community. They only want to take from their community. So they probably look at their husband or their wife as the same thing. I'm only with her because of what she can do for me, because I don't want to have to do all this by myself. And the minute she start acting up, then I'm gone. And a lot of people do have that relationship, that type of mentality. That as soon as it becomes too inconvenient, they're not doing enough for me, or I found somebody else who just does it bigger and better, I'm gone. And there's just no way, that's no way to raise children. You can't raise children with that type of mentality, because then those children are going to pick up on that mentality and continue it. And it's going to fester and get worse. And we'll just have no society at some point. But the scary part is getting to no society, when society actually collapses because people can't get along. Because everybody thinks they're one person when it's never been that. When humans have always been social creatures and have always relied on each other to make it out of the woods, to get out of those trees, to make it out of that savannah. Monkeys needed each other. Whatever, primates needed each other. All primates need each other to survive. They survive in groups, families, tribes. They develop cultures. And it's important to keep those things going if our species is to survive. And if your comfort levels are to be maintained, you have to keep maintaining the society that we are already in. And right now, birth rates and marriages are on the downfall. And it's just a big problem that we have to address. We can't keep thinking about just ourselves. We have to widen our understanding and care about our community. Because once we can all care about our community, then we'll understand the value of marriage. We'll understand the value of what we're building, of why we punch into work every day. It creates value. I'm not just here to collect a check and then go fuck off. I'm here to inspire, teach, and motivate. That's what I do at my job. I don't do it because of the paycheck. No, seriously. I've had better jobs than that. I made more money. It wasn't fulfilling. I didn't feel like I was giving anything to my community. And that's a big thing, I'll get into it a little bit later. But yeah, we definitely, as a community, as a people, we need to start seeing, the bigger picture so that we can get married. Start seeing the bigger picture in your everyday life and, in your home. Help your brother out. Help your sister out. Help your mother out. Understand what you're doing. If people keep complaining about your behavior and how it's inconveniencing them, don't just think of it, oh, that's their problem and they need to get over it. Start thinking, how can we have some type of agreement here? How can we come to a consensus? Especially if it's a person you got to see every day, talk to every day. Just bridging the gap between people again. I know the pandemic has done a number on Gen Z, especially socially. But we can definitely rebuild that. It's imperative, actually, because humans cannot survive without a functioning, healthy societal structure. We would all lose our way. We would all lose. Everybody loses if nobody plays the game of community. So start playing the game, man, so we can get married. Don't play around, let's get married. But we're gonna listen to her talk a little bit about, it's just a little funny story. I just liked it. It's a change of pace so we could just have a little bit more fun in this video. Check it out. We gonna talk about it.
Fellas, what y'all doing? It is working. So I am in Chipotle today, overhearing a girl's conversation where she is whining on the phone, talking about she is 38 years old, never been married, got 2 kids, and the guy she's dating right now is not interested in marrying her. The first time in a long time, women are starting to realize getting married and starting a family is not guaranteed anymore. Y'all are choosing yourselves and peace, and women are feeling it. Women are starting to worry if they will ever get married, and if they don't already have kids, if they will have children. There's a reason, because y'all are tired. Tired of modern dating, tired of emotional games, tired of feeling unappreciated, and tired of relationships that are one-sided. Instead of rushing into relationships, y'all are slowing down and observing how these women are first. Pretty privilege is over. Y'all are no longer dating based on how a woman looks and how you're attracted to her. Now y'all are asking yourselves, can she bring me peace? Can she support my dream? Can I trust her long term, and does she actually value me? Because you all are realizing one of the biggest decisions you can ever make is a relationship, and then it going to the highest level of marriage. And when y'all choose wrong, it destroys everything financially, mentally, emotionally. For years, women have believed that men need women more than women need men. But now men are getting so comfortable with being alone and focused on their work, their purpose, and peace. And finally, women are realizing that men have always controlled marriage and building a family. And now you all are becoming more selective.
Very profound thing, because it encompasses so much, you know. Now, in today's, if you don't know, in the dating game now, men have severely drawn back. Men are not approaching women. Men are not trying to get married. Men are not trying to have kids or nothing like that. And this is mainly a man thing. Now, it's in response to how women were treating men when Instagram and Twitter and all that were first getting popping. And I remember, you know, being 13, seeing these new memes of women, you know, pretty much talking like men on the internet. I'm like, these women kind of talk like men. How men talk about women, women are now talking about men. And this was like a total world reversal. I was like, even at 13, I was like, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy to see and hear. But yeah, women, you know, tell men, don't approach me. That's creepy. That's weird. I'm not here to get nothing. I'm just doing this and going off. And yeah, so men have responded, and men are no longer even trying. And now women are seeing that, oh, if they don't even try, it probably never happens. And that's our big reality. Now, men, we can't be taking this too hard. We can't be taking this shit too serious. Yes, take who you get involved with very seriously. Don't just get any woman just because they're nice and pretty. I understand that. But at the same time, don't be so sensitive that you can't understand that women just have fleeting feelings. That women are just overprotective sometimes. I'm not saying it is an excuse for everything that they do. But seriously, women are just more emotionally vulnerable. Seriously, they make emotional choices. That's just how they are. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is seriously nothing wrong with that, because you definitely need that emotional viewpoint to help balance out your own life sometimes. Because as a man, you get so sometimes wrapped up in what's logistical, logical, what's going to make me money today, how am I going to build my body, my confidence, stuff like that. You're looking for real results every day. And sometimes a woman can slow you down and say you need to emotionally nurture yourself first. Because honestly, women are making a lot of money nowadays. Women are doing really well in school nowadays. Women do really well with their businesses nowadays. I see more inspiring women than I see inspiring men nowadays. Like, I've run into way more women with degrees and women with businesses than I run into men with degrees and men with business. Now, I'm not saying that's the only way to win in life, but at the same time, women definitely understand something that men don't. That we don't, and that's why we need to get married. We need to stop playing around. But honestly, on both sides of the fence, women, you can't be playing games with men. Don't leave men on and play hard to get or something like that just because you like attention and validation. And as a man, just because a woman, one woman, two women, three women, four women, five women blow you off, don't mean you gotta give up, bro. Like, I'm a conventionally attractive dude. People tell me all the time I'm attractive and how sexy I am and stuff like that. So, even I get rejected. If I cold approach a girl, seriously, it's a 40% chance they just say no. I mean, a 60% chance. I would say about a 60% chance they just say no to me. And I've had it happen. I approach girls while they're at work, while they're, walking on the trails, while they're at the gym. Yeah, I get a lot of good responses. I do get a lot of good responses, but majority of them are pretty negative. I understand that I get more positive than negative when I compare myself to other men. So maybe I really can't speak too hard on it, but at the same time, I have experienced rejection. I know what that feels like, and yeah, I pulled back, and I said, you know what? I ain't doing that shit. Never again, bro. I remember in 2018, I had texted this one girl I went to school with. I was just trying to fuck. Yeah, I was just trying to fuck. But I wanted to smoke her out. I wanted to get her some food. I wanted to hang out, chill, watch a movie with her because I actually did like her, but I wanted to get it in, you feel me? So I hit her up and I'm trying to, make my move. I'm just, oh, what's up? You want to smoke today? What's up with you? I don't smoke with broke niggas. I don't do that. Now, mind you, this woman, I mean, she's not ugly. She's not that very attractive. I really liked her body more than anything, but her first response was, oh, no, I ain't doing broke niggas. That's not me. You gonna have to get your money up before you ever talk to me again. I literally said, oh, okay, wow, and then blocked her. Because it didn't tear me down. I wasn't like, oh, shit, I'm never gonna do this again. It slowed me down for sure. I was like, damn, that kind of fucking sucks. I really never slid in nobody's DMs like that ever again. I always approach people face to face just because I know a woman won't be that bold in public. She won't be that bold half the time in public and say some crazy outlandish shit. Most of the time they, in those DMs, they feel safe, so they just gonna say whatever comes to mind, and they wouldn't say that shit to your face. They just wouldn't do it. But I definitely understand that type of pain. It hurts. It hurts a little bit. So, man, just don't get so worked up in that, though. Definitely still pick and choose who you want to be with, but can't you get over it? Can't you get over a past few rejections, man? I think you can. You're a big, strong dude. But we're just going to talk a little bit more about some logistical things. Because like I said, like men and women, they go together. We go together. A woman has some things that a man can understand, and a man has some things a woman can understand. So let's talk about, let's see how we can actually work together a little bit more.
Y'all out here acting like marriage is a liability. Meanwhile, rent just went up again. The economy doesn't care about your fear of commitment. You know what helps? 2 incomes, 1 rent. And you know what also helps? 1 income and somebody taking care of the home. And if you don't realize, marriage is the original wealth plan because you can build together or you can struggle alone. A lot of people talk about being bosses, but bosses also know when to partner up. A house with 2 people building is always stronger than 1 person trying to go at everything alone. Loneliness is costly too. It just may not cost you dollars. The problem is not marriage, it's who you marry. Build with someone you can trust. Build with someone who has vision, the same vision as you, and marry somebody who wants legacy, not just luxury.
A very short video, but what she said was powerful. We need to work together. Like she said, you can either struggle alone or build together. Which one you want to do? Because in this economy right now, building together is your only option. I promise you. And now I know some people come from, real good families. They got that old money. They ain't got to worry about nothing. And this ain't for you. Seriously, it's just not for you. Society has been split down a financial or economic classes system now where a lot of people just have a lot of resources to do whatever they want in America, and a lot of people in America just don't. And if you're a part of that subsect, then because I'm talking about a tiny percent of people that actually can just do whatever the hell they want. But if you're working every day, if you live paycheck to paycheck, if you have a rent, an apartment, you should probably be looking for somebody too. Not to say marriage is for everybody and only get married so you can get help, but understand that is a real benefit. Women, kind of take it for granted. Oh, you're supposed to pay the bill. That's what you're supposed to do. No, I don't have to do anything, actually. As a man, all I have to do is live and die. That's all I have to do. If you want a relationship, if you want that type of partnership, you have to be open to understanding that it's a benefit, not a given. Not what's the word? But basically, you can't take it for granted. It's not just something given to you. It is a benefit, and it is earned at the same time. You have to have a value. You have to come with something. I can do this. And that other person says, oh, I can't do that, but I can do this. And we can complement each other in that way. Build together. Like she said, bosses know when to partner up. You see how, a lot of these companies move, especially like Disney, and how they're just buying up all these media conglomerates and stuff like that. And that's because, the media field has become so competitive now with all these streaming services. It just makes more sense to go to one person, to just sell out, and now we're all working together. It just makes more sense sometimes, and that's how we have to think about it. I do think we should be marrying for love. Like I said, we should incorporate a little bit of love into it. I think it helps it move a little bit better. And we're not in a society where it's so hard to find somebody nowadays. You just have to settle down. You just have to, because you need kids. You don't need kids nowadays. But, dang. So while I think we should be incorporating love, it should still be mainly a business thing. Like she said, it just makes more sense sometimes. So go out in your community, go to work, go to the gym, go walk a trail or swim or something, and, be a regular. Find a place you can be a regular and have regular social interactions, and typically it's probably gonna be work. And try to find somebody in that, if you can. I'm not saying, it's going to be perfect and easy for everybody, but definitely start just looking and saying, you know what, we would make sense together. She's not the prettiest in the world, but we would make sense together. We have really good connection, really good chemistry. Let me stop playing with this woman. And as a woman, you got to look at a man and say sometimes, you know what, he ain't exactly where he's supposed to be, but if I stick around, maybe encourage him a little, maybe make him a few meals so he can focus on what he wants to focus on, we can get somewhere together. My personal belief is that, we should be working together. A man and a woman should get together solely for the reason of survival, almost. Like, we should be getting together so that our lives can be easier. Not perfect, just easier. Not, I want the dream life, and you have to be doing all this for me and that for me, and I'm not taking nothing less. No, I just want to make sure I can contribute to society. I just want to be loved by somebody, It ain't got to be the most perfect thing in the world, because I'm a real adult. I understand the real world. I understand not everything could be perfect. I just think, if we incorporate a little bit more business, understand the benefits of marriage, I think that would break down a lot of preference. Especially in this economy. Especially. They get raising gas prices, y'all. One car would be nice. Go drop your wife off and then go to work, pick your wife up and go back, I don't know. I guess I just see it different. Maybe I just see it different. But that's kind of what this last woman is going to talk about. You'll see though. We're going to talk a little bit more about resources, because I feel like that is a big reason why a lot of marriages fail.
84% of marriages and relationships don't last because of the lack of finances. But y'all knew I was going to say it. Man or woman, y'all got to remember that love don't pay the bills. History from that marriage certificate don't take care of the things that have to be taken care of. Man or woman, when the household is taken care of primarily by one person for so long, it just can't work. And sometimes it's not even about the fact that it can't work. It's about the fact that it shouldn't work. We have normalized things that aren't normal. But of course, this conversation gonna ruffle some feathers because these are the things that therapy is meant to heal and correct. Part of the reason why people, couples, and everybody else be avoiding therapy is because therapy is not always there to make you feel good. It's not there to just heal you. It's there to correct you. And sometimes correction won't tell you that there's a better way to do it. They'll tell you not to do it at all. So yeah, marriages and relationships aren't lasting anymore because nobody's pulling their weight. And until we extend the conversation beyond who's cooking and washing the dishes and taking out the trash and move to discussing them finances, as someone who works in finance, the number one thing that we look at is somebody's capacity versus their character. Your character tells me that you have a desire to want to make money, to go get a job, to support your family, to be there, to show up financially. Your capacity is your ability to do so. Capacity looks like a man or a woman potentially wanting to work but can't find a job, continues to search for a job, can't get hired. Character. The person who could work, who could do more, who could do better. It's not in their character to be better. It's the man that refuses to go work because of X, Y, Z, because love don't pay the bills. The woman who's so deep in her head about a man should be a provider, a man should do it all on his own, that she won't do anything. She won't help. She won't help support. She won't do anything that involves helping. That's why marriages and relationships ain't lasting, y'all.
Seriously, though. And take finances out of it. Seriously. Like she said, people just ain't pulling their weight sometimes. And I've had to explain that to somebody. Seriously. Like, if I'm putting in all the effort and I can just feel that, oh, if I don't say it, you're definitely not going to say it. If I don't do it, you're not going to do it. If, that's draining. It's incredibly frustrating. If that is you, that's who you are, you really don't put energy in relationships, stop getting in relationships. Go fix yourself. Like she said, go to therapy so somebody can tell you you don't need to be in a relationship right now. It's what you need to hear. Sometimes it's just what you need to hear. But seriously, we beyond finances, it like she said, it's about character and well, like she said, it's about character and capacity. If you have the character to go up and do whatever you want to do, then that marriage probably will last. People want to work and go out and get their money and stuff like that, but it's a bad market. Some men just can't find jobs. Some people just can't find their job. But it doesn't mean, they're a bad fit for somebody. That they can still be a good husband or wife. They just not in that situation to provide or give anything right now. Versus somebody who just lacks capacity. Versus somebody who lacks character. Somebody who can do it. Yeah, I have a job. I do. Yeah, I have a job. I'm not giving her my money. Are you crazy? I'm not taking care of those kids though. That's the problem. There's a lot of good people out here that don't have what they need to be in a relationship, but they're good fucking people. But good people normally don't have good resources. It's just how the world works. So you have these people, especially men, who have all the resources and they're pretty bad fucking people. But these are the ones that women want to be with because they have the resources. So now they're having that man's children. And because this man, he has no real moral character, he just has a lot of capacity to do things for people. Now he's raising some really bad members of society. Now he done messed up this one woman who could have probably been a really good wife for somebody else. And now she's fucked up. She'd only want that one man now. She want the baby daddy. And a lot of men don't want her because she has a baby now. All because somebody with low moral character got with somebody who got with somebody who had low capacity. And they needed each other. It becomes that what's it called? Codependent relationship. But your relationship shouldn't be codependent, shouldn't be one-sided, shouldn't be toxic. You can't live without that person. No, it should be we're building together. It should be this is what I give, this is what you give, and this is how we're one together. Honestly, that's how I think relationships work. Now, when I was younger, I didn't really want to get married. I really didn't care about marriage. But as I grew up, I just started to understand the value of having a woman with me. How nice it is. Beyond just sex, like emotionally, I've grown so much just from talking to women. I've understood myself way more, especially when it comes to taking care of myself, physically, mentally. It has changed my life. It's put me on a totally different direction. I was up to no good for a while. But it put me on the right path because I was like, dang, that woman low-key saved my life. Just by what she said, just by her presence. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that woman to get me through that time. And in that, I saw the value of a woman. I really did. So I believe marriage is important, and I would definitely get married. I would definitely get married, but I'm not pressed to get married. You know, like I definitely think I could make a good husband, and I know there are good wives out there. I know there's good mothers out there. I do. I'm not the most, I am romantic. I don't know what really the word is, but I'm not the most, I don't need it. I don't need marriage. I don't need love. I don't need much social validation at all. I can just sit in front of this camera and do this all day and be fine. You know, I can play video games all day and be fine. I can be alone all day and not speak to anybody for like 3 weeks before I get, let me go see, let me go see what I can do out there. For real. Like I've been in these situations multiple times where I had to be alone. And in being alone, you really get to understand yourself more. I know I talked about individualism, and I'm not saying that you need to fester in some type of isolated place and don't talk to nobody, but definitely getting more in touch with yourself is going to help you understand what you can bring, what you're lacking in, and how to move, and how you could benefit another woman, what you need to look for in another woman. Just because a woman is good for me doesn't mean she's good for the next man. Just because a man is good for one woman doesn't mean that man is good for the next woman. Doesn't make him a bad man, doesn't make him a good man. You have to look for what works for you. You have to look for the results and understand dynamics. That's just the way I see it though, maybe. Maybe I could be wrong. You guys have to let me know. I would definitely marry for love. Like I have to love you before I can get married to you. But at the same time, I'm not going to let my love be the only reason. If you don't wake up and work out, you don't meditate, you're not serious about your mental health, spiritual health, physical health, I really don't want to be with you. Financially, if you're lagging behind a little bit, I understand because, the economy is what it is right now, and a lot of that is just out of our control. Like one day I was paying $30 for gas, and the next day I wake up and I got to pay $50 to fill my tank. And that happened overnight, my guy. That shit happened overnight for real. It's just understandable economically being down in this time. So what I look for in a relationship nowadays is cooperativeness. My favorite word is a capable woman. I love a capable woman. I love a professional woman. If you really looking for a man to take care of you, I understand that. Like, I want to take care of my woman. At some point, especially once we have kids, I'm going to tell my woman, go sit down. You're not working anymore. That's what I'm going to tell her. But until we get to that point, I need to see that you can work, that you have resilience, that you have drive and follow through. I need to see that. I seriously need to see that, because if once I tell you, oh, you're not punching a clock anymore, I'm going to expect you to be punching them dishes. I expect you to have my meal cooked when I get ready. For real. But that's a separate side of work, and we're still going to have our own fun. I'm going to recognize what you do, just like I expect you to recognize what I do. and we're gonna build together as a team. That to me is the dream. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments. This was a really fun video to make. It took me a little time to really get my thoughts together because I don't have a script. I just go off the dome because I like to keep it real authentic and just I don't know, maybe I should write down my thoughts just so it could be a little bit more powerful. But I don't know. Let me know how y'all feel about it. What y'all think about marriage? Would you guys get married? How do you feel about the economy? Does that play a big part into why you would get married? I also want to talk about children and stuff like that because I work with kids, so I definitely want to talk about kids, stuff like that. I want to talk about AI. I have a lot of ideas for some commentaries, but I also got reaction videos coming too because, like I said, this channel is about fun, and this channel is about fun and learning. I'm the best of both worlds. I'm fun and serious at the same time. I'm unfunnily serious. I'm seriously funny. Seriously. I'm playing. Anyway, make sure you drop a like, comment, and follow. Stay safe, stay warm, whatever's going on. And until next time, guys.